Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be xhairymuppetx, and we are going to be casting a Masters level game. Down the bottom left side, we have our red Protoss player, nexKnowMe, who we have cast a few games of in the past. This is from his replay pack. I don't know why I screw these words up so much. I'm just a horrible caster. You should not even be watching, but please don't take that as an order, and please keep watching. Thank you very much. Down the bottom right side, we have our blue Zerg player, and his name is SyDe or SyDe. Yeah, he's got a pretty cool name, and he doesn't even need a clan, man. He's a total boss all by himself, and of course he is, because he is in Masters League. But both of these players are actually in Masters League, and I actually cast a Grandmaster game before, Grubby versus Leslie. Excellent game. Not quite long enough though. It was fairly short, so we are going to have a go at this game, and this game is going to be a lot longer, a lot more, well, I can't say it's going to be a lot more epic, but the fact is, for something to be epic, it does generally have to be of a certain length. So this is definitely of a certain length, and therefore, considering it's between Masters players, we are going to assume it's going to be epic. Unless it turns out to be another Swarm Host snooze-a-thon where you just spend 50 minutes watching the Swarm Host slowly crawl across the map. And that gets a little bit boring after a while. I've got to be honest. It gets a little bit boring, but I am going to bet that we are not going to see a massive Swarm Host push during this game. We're going to see something else. It's going to be really exciting. We're going to see a massive Broodlord army, or we're going to see a massive Carrier army, or we're going to see a massive something army. Maybe it's going to be Ling Muta. Massive Ling Muta army going across the board, just wiping everything out. And yeah, why not? It's all going to be awesome. No matter what happens, it is always going to be awesome. You know why it's going to be awesome? Because it's me, xhairymuppetx, casting the game. There we go. Self-promotion all the way, because why the hell not? There we go. Forge before gateway, and so he looks like he's going for a very defensive sort of build. Probably going to build a couple of pylons out here, build a gate with gateways. I love it when they build gates with gateways, and then a couple of cannons to do a bit of a backup, so the Zerg, can't really do a sort of Ling run by. But this drone is going to get in there well before the gate is finished, and most likely before the cannons are finished. Although he is going to run back, and he's like me, he's a lazy little bastard. He does not want to do any scouting. There we go, he's got the Lings out, so they are going to be the scouters. They are going to go out, and they are going to do what they need to do, and what they need to do is find out what the Protoss is doing. But they may be a little bit late now. I think he might be able to get this, well no, he needs units to finish off the wall. He's going to build another pylon here, I think. No, that is a gateway. I don't know, if there may be a little gap here, like a little walkie thingy bob in there, but the cannon is going to be up in time, so maybe two Lings could make it through, but then again, maybe not. Actually, no, I don't think there's a gate at all. I don't think there is a gate here. Well, technically there's 4 gates, but I don't think there's actually an opening there. Oh, he's cancelled one of the gateways. He's going for a cyber core. There he goes. So that was purely to make sure any Lings didn't run in. But now he's cancelled them both. Notice they were gateways, so so he probably got 120 minerals back from those. So it's not too bad. Lost about 30 minerals each, but that's probably worth it. Cyber core coming down. Pylon coming down. Of course, he didn't need 4 warp gates that early, so it probably was going to be a waste to build them all. So there we go. He's got the gap going. He's going to leave the probe there. He's not making sure that the cybernetics core is built. He's actually blocking that pass until he gets a zealot out, and then the zealot will block that pass, and the probe will go back to work. But there we go. The Zerg is happy to take map control at this point, and he is happy to take a third base. Very, very early third base. If you have a look at the income, he's not been going nuts on the harvesters, but you can expect that to change in the next few minutes. Him to just explode harvesters all over the place. Just goes in there, he just does his thing, and there's harvesters everywhere. So there we go. That is what we expect from this game. See 6 more harvesters coming out. His zealot's going to go out. They're going to have a bit of a scout around, have a bit of a Yeah, they're going to go out, and they look so... Don't they just look so cool? Just walking around in unison. They look like they could be in what is like a Broadway show or something like that. Just going out there, the 4 zealots, they do a cool dance routine. And at the end of it, they just shout for a dune or something like that, man. It would just be so awesome. I would probably maybe go see that Broadway show. I'm not really a Broadway person, but I'm sure it would receive rave reviews, and I'm sure it would be back by popular demand 2 months after the original screening, and I'm sure that it would be sold out. You know, pretty sold out anyway, because I mean, who doesn't like zealots dancing, really? Really, who doesn't? If you do not like zealots dancing, then please, this is not a good time to mention it, because you are going to ruin my entire argument. There we go, a couple of stalkers going back, and they're like, you know what, the zealots are the direct counter to Lings, and they just got wiped out. So I don't think I'm going to go in there, because, you know, it's not going to work out, man. So he's going to go back, but he has got his 2 bases going. Does he know about the 3rd? He does not. So he's at a bit of a disadvantage here, as far as his knowledge of where the Zerg player is going. He looks like he's actually pushing out a bit here. Going to try and get this 3rd, but this is going to be quite hard to actually protect. And he's got to be careful here. These Lings have speed. If he does not block off this gap in these crucial seconds before he gets a bigger gateway out here, then this could prove a lot of trouble for the workers back here. The Zerg are going to go for this army. He's slowing down a lot of them, but there we go, cancel at the last second, and those Lings did their job. They lost barely any. Are they going to go for the gap? No, there's too many forces for them to go around. If another Ling force went round back here, but I don't know if this is closed off. If this isn't closed off, they could go in there. They could do a lot of damage to these probes. There we go, they're going to try for it. No, they did not. The army was too close, and they just couldn't get past. There we go. Overseer coming in there. There he goes. This Changeling coming out there, and it gets wiped out by the cannon. So bye-bye Changeling. And here we go. Hallucinated Phoenix coming in here. Gonna get the scout off that he needs to get. He's not going to see a whole lot of tech structures in here. He is going to see the Roach Warren. And there we go. He just absolutely unhallucinates there. He's no longer hallucinated. He's unhallucinated. And I'm not sure what that word actually means, but I think it means he's no longer there. And this is ballsy from the Protoss player, trying to gate off this area as well as up here, because he's trying to prepare, obviously, for moving into this base as well. But I mean, as soon as the Zerg gets some air into the mix, as soon as he starts getting some mutas, if he does decide to go down that route, then he's just not going to be able to hold this bottom base. There's nothing he's going to be able to do. There's a little observer. I know why so many commentators call them obs now, because observer and overseer are just so confusing. But we are going to continue to try and call it an overseer, because no, shit, it's an observer. We're going to try and keep calling it an observer, because that is the right way to do things. And I'm not saying everybody else is wrong for calling it an obs, but I need some practice at calling things by their proper name. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep screwing it up over and over and over and over and over again. And it's just going to get more and more painful watching my cast, and then you guys will just never watch them again, and I'll be very sad. So there we go. Moving in there. Phoenix, hallucinated Phoenix, going in there. And there we go. Spore Crawler's going to take him out. Well, he's not going to take him out, but he's going to do quite a bit of damage. This Overlord's like, yeah, whatever, dude. I don't even care, man. I don't even care. And there we go. Fairly large army. If you have a look at the army, the Zerg is getting out a bit more. But I think he's getting low-tech units out. Although he is getting some Hydras out now. So 14 Roaches, 9 Hydras. That's a fairly nice army to start off with. 78 workers versus the 64 of the Protoss army. So he's really gone nuts on the economy. He's got 4 bases mining. Protoss player only has 3, but Protoss player only needs to make sure that he's 1 behind. And there we go. Phoenix, these are actual Phoenix. These are real Phoenix. So this Overlord, you cannot ignore these guys anymore, because they can actually kill you now. There we go. This Observer is just going to sit in there. He's just going to watch everything. And he's lucky that there's not an overseer running by nearby, because they would see him. Here we go. Here's an overlord drop. All these roaches, all of these hydras. He's going to go for a distraction force here. Is pretty good timing. These guys are going to make sure that all these guys are at the front. Meanwhile, the distraction force is going to come in here. No, the distraction force is out there. Sorry, these guys are going to come in there, but they're being a bit slow. The distraction is going ahead a bit too fast. I don't know. I think he can survive for a bit longer. He's just baiting him. He's just that bloody thing, you know, when it's like when you drop a bit of crumbs under your keyboard and stuff, and you're trying to get it out, and you get a sharp little tool and you're trying to lever it out, and you don't want to pull out the keys, but you're starting to think you may have to. It's just in there. It's just so annoying, and it's worked. It's definitely, we've got some zealots warping in, but they did not expect the massive amount of Zerg forces coming in here. And there we go. He's going to leave half his forces there, just enough to hold these guys off. Maybe not even that. He's going to move the rest back here. Gets the Colossus up there nice and fast. The Nexus goes down. There is creep everywhere. These overlords are just crapping all over the place. This is not the sort of thing that you want to have happen in your home. And there we go. He's going to save some of the forces. He's going to save almost all of the overlords. And the defense here is starting to dwindle down a bit. They're starting to get taken out, but the forces coming back. These two Colossus and these Immortals are going to scare away these forces, and here come the rest of the Zealots. He doesn't have Zealot legs, and he's starting to realize now how much of a problem that was. Nexus overcharged though, doing a very good job. And here we go. This is just an awesome move here. These Overlords coming back with the rest of the forces. They're going to crap down again. They're going to take out some buildings. Not too much, but they might get some workers. Taking down this forge when it's doing level 2 weapons. That is going to be fairly huge. Is he going to cancel it? He cancels it at the very last second. Very nice job for our Protoss player. The Mothership Core is going to come in along with all these Zealots. He desperately needs Zealot legs, but the pylon has been taken out from his Twilight Council, and oh my god, this is just such a hassle for the Protoss player. He is really being hit hard from both sides, and the Zerg player meanwhile has gone up. He's getting his 5th base. The Zerg player is firmly in control here. Look at this army going down. He's got the Corruptors, so he has got the Colossus situation under control. Massive amount of Hydras. I would have expected a bit more Roaches as some cover for these guys, but he must know about the large amount of Immortals, so he's probably not too worried about the Roaches. However, he will have to make sure that he takes out all the Colossus before the Colossus take out all the Hydras. So there we go. Zealot legs, where are you? Oh my god. Zealot legs is going to lose the battle for the Protoss player. If he had that, these Hydras would be in so much trouble at the moment. And there we go. He's got some Void Rays out. Void Rays, great counter versus the Corruptors, especially when they do the overcharge. Whole bunch of Stalkers and stuff taking this out. So the bonus of this battle is that the Corruptors are not focusing on the Colossus. The Colossus are going out there. They're attacking the Hydra force. And that is just good. That is just good all over the place. I think the Corruptors got taken out. Meanwhile, another drop in the back of the Protoss main base. He was going for another Nexus there. These Zerg just took it out. And oh god, I feel so sorry for this Protoss player right now. He must be having the mother of all migraines. He must be bashing stuff. He must be ripping out his hair. Because this is just damn annoying gameplay from the Zerg player. And you can say all you want that is beautiful drops this master level play. It is annoying as all hell. And it would pisses me off. It would piss off the Protoss player as well. And I mean, as a Masters player, you've got to rise above it, you've got to counter it, and if you win the game, you've got to say, well, that was a good victory. That guy really had me up against the wall, and I pushed back. But right now, you know this Protoss player is just so pissed off. And that was a beautiful snipe of that Nexus from the Zerg player. He's going to run out. He saves most of his forces. Some beautiful play, just such beautiful play here. And here we go. These guys don't have any units in them. But, oh, just... he's even supply capped now. He keeps losing pylons. So that is just bad. He's got to rebuild this Nexus here. I'm not sure if this is actually worth it with his low level of minerals left. He's still got a lot of gas though. There we go. The Void Rays just coming back and saying, you know what, screw you. You're getting taken out, dude. That's all there is to it. And the Protoss, he's getting out his army. He's trying to get back in the game. But the Zerg player, man, just look at this army. And what do we got for upgrades going on? We got 1-1. 1-1 for the Protoss player. 2-2 is on the way. He's getting number 2 weapons for the Protoss player now. And he hasn't got number 2 armor, but he did get delayed quite a lot with his forge getting taken out. I don't know where the new forge is. It's probably down here somewhere. There it goes, right there. So he is getting Storm out though, and Storm is going to be absolutely fantastic against Hydra balls. But here we go. We have Broodlords coming out as well, and he's just going nuts here. I mean, both players are just going nuts. He's even moving on to this base, so he's just going to get this base and then that base, and then the Zerg player has taken over the entire half of the map. Creep is not as good as I would have thought. He's getting into the creep now, but he might have been at the middle of the base by the 20-minute mark if he had really put some pressure on those creep tumors. But he's letting him slack off, and he hasn't got, you know, a massive amount of creep to show for it. But of course, yeah, I mean, he could have probably done it. I don't know if the Protoss would have taken a lot of that out, but here we go. This Overlord's trying to pick up this other Hydra, and the Hydra's like, no, dude, I'm not going to fit in there, man. It's not going to work out. Okay, it's just not going to work. And the Overlord's like, oh, can we just give it a try? You know, I reckon I could do it. I reckon I could fit one more in. He's going for the Guinness World Record for most Hydras and Roaches stuffed inside an Overlord. But I don't think he is going to get that record, because it's just not going to happen. The Hydra wants nothing to do with this particular play. He's just getting the hell out of there, jumping into another Overlord. Hallucinated Phoenix, very nice scout there. He sees the Overlords, he sees the army in the middle. The Protoss player knows where the attacks are coming from. So there we go. He's going to run in there with a couple of Void Rays. He's going to take these guys out. The Hydras, if they pop out though, they might be able to wipe out these Void Rays. And the Void Rays know that. They're getting the hell out of there. But here we go, a bunch of Corruptors coming in as well. The Protoss force coming in, going to send in some units, but they've got to be very worried about the attack here. And look at these Broodlords in a beautiful position underneath the army. You do not want to move the ground army away though. You do not want to leave the Broodlords undefended. They are so slow. But here comes a Storm. That Storm wasn't very well placed, but he had the right idea. Now he needs to get some nice placements on the Hydralisks and on the Broodlords and on the Corruptors, and then he will really start to get some good stuff going on. But this base is fairly exposed at the moment. He's almost certainly... No, this guy's... He's got a pylon there. He's warping in some units, so that should be fine. There we go. The Nexus, even in range to take out some of those Broodlords. That range on that guy, 13 range. That's just absolutely phenomenal. Void Rays coming out here. He's got a decent amount of Void Rays. Here comes the Storms he needs to do. He needs to get a few more Storms. There comes the Storms on the Broodlords. The Void Rays with their armoured overcharge just ripping through the Broodlords and through the Corruptors. And here we go, it's just Hydras left. They've been very weakened by the Storms, and they're just going to absolutely annihilate the rest of the Hydralisk army. And Storms plus Colossus just spells death, absolute death for Hydralisk. And the Void Rays wiping out those air units. I really think that Protoss is in a good position here, and we can see he's actually going for Tempest now, so he's going for some long range option, maybe thinking about moving into some harassing position. Of course, Tempests are an excellent option versus sort of harassing, because they've got just such a stupidly long range. Here we go, another Overlord coming in. He's I don't know what he's doing. He's dying, that's what he's doing. So there we go. Just going back, and the Zerg player has to regroup. So I think for the first time in about 5-10 minutes, the Protoss player has pulled off a fantastic attack, and I think he may be in the lead at the moment. This may be, I'm not 100% sure. The Zerg player realizing that what he really needs is Vipers. He needs to yank those Colossus out of position, because they are just wiping out his Hydra force so badly. And that is what he's going to do. And if he manages to yank out all the Colossus, the Hydras and Roaches will wipe them out, and then he might be able to get some nice wins in this game. But right now, another drop coming down here. He's got some cannons coming down for defense, but the cannons are not there yet, and even if they were, I don't think they can take out all these forces. So this base is going to come out. He warps in a High Templar there. He needs a bit more energy to get out a nice Psystorm, but the main force is going to come here. He's going to chase these guys away. He's going to take out a few Overlords, but the most of them make it back. These Void Rays just going nuts, man. Just going absolutely nuts. The Overlords, I can't tell their speed, but I don't think they're faster than the Void Rays. Here they go. They're dropping just off this cliff, and the Void Rays will have to run away from that battle. They cannot attack Hydras once they are on the ground. So there we go. Protoss continuing to build up. He's going to get this Nexus back up, and this has really been the story of the day. Just the Zerg getting in there, sniping nexi all over the place, and he's really done a good job at getting in there, taking the Nexus out, and just getting out there with as few units lost as possible. And we'll see exactly how this game continues from this point. He is getting up a bunch more Corruptors. I think he's continuing to go for Broodlords. There he goes, Broodlords all over the place. So he's going for a nice air army. He knows that he's got a pretty good chance, but I don't know. I mean, Void Rays countered those Corruptors and those Broodlords so well in their last engagement. I'm not sure why he's continuing to push with them, because if we have a look at here, he's got 6 Corruptors, 7 Broodlords versus 6 Void Rays, and I don't think they have any chance of taking out the Void Rays at this point. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a battle where you've got 2 Corruptors for each Void Ray, and the Void Rays still manage to win because they're just, once they use their armoured overcharge, they're just so good. You might be trying to feint in an Overlord drop here. This has got to have the Protoss player a little bit worried because he's seen so many Overlord drops, but the Overlord starts moving around here and it just becomes apparent that he's just scouting, so he's not going for a drop anywhere. These guys morphing into Archons. It's going to be a good idea, I guess. Although those guys still had energy, I think, when they morphed in, so maybe not that good of an idea. He's going to force this Nexus to be cancelled. Protoss player going to have to move up a little bit, try and defend it. This is a massive amount of units, it really is. As Corruptors, there's just 12. They're still only versus 6 Void Rays, but with the Hydras they might be able to eke out a win there, and that is a massive amount of Broodlords. They're going to do so much damage when they get in there and when they start attacking stuff. It's like 12 PM or something like that, 12 noon, and I am yawning my head off on a Sunday. What the hell is wrong with me? I do not know. But what I do know is that if these Broodlords go into this base, they would do a lot of damage. They're sort of just bumping around though. Here they go, they're going to get a nice pylon kill there. So they have not quite paid for themselves yet, but they are going to start paying for themselves. At least until the, oh look at this, Tempest. I've got to think that these count as massive units. Ooh, they've actually got ice above them. What the hell does that mean? Does that mean they got slowed? I do not know. I do not know what this ice thing means. It looks like a Protoss symbol of some kind. And I got to think the Tempest did it. That may have been, is there an Oracle? Is there an Oracle? I thought maybe it was an Oracle ability. Like the Oracles have some sort of thing that allows vision and stuff like that. So these guys can 3-shot the Broodlords at the moment. So I've got to think, I think we've basically confirmed now that Broodlords are massive units, because they get 3-shot from the Tempest, and the Tempests only do 33 damage to normal units, but they do 85 to massive units. So these have got to be massive units right now. I mean, look at them, they do look pretty massive. So they got to count as massive units, and there we go. So Tempests are the ultimate counter versus Broodlords. They just rip through them so fast, it's not even funny. And there we go, they're going to try and move around the top side. But Tempest, man, they're going to go in there. They're not all that good versus the Corruptors, I don't think. The Corruptors are not massive units. There we go, there's the yank from the Tempest. Tempests are now enemy number 1. He's got to take them out, but the Void Rays coming in there are going to scare that Corruptor force off. And this is just going all sorts of bad for the Zerg player at the moment. He's not doing the attacks that he needs to do, and this the combination of Tempest and Void Rays at the moment, not even counting this ground force, is just really pushing him back. He doesn't have enough ground forces to really cut it off. He's really relying heavily on his Corruptor force, but between the Void Rays, the Tempest, and the bloody Storms going down, these Corruptors are just not going to be able to do the damage they need to do. They're taking out a lot of Colossus, they're taking out a lot of Void Rays, but in the end, the overcharge from the Void Rays on the Corruptors is just, it's just so damaging, it's just so painful. And the Zerg player is in a lot of trouble in this game. He really is in a lot of trouble. You can see that one hit took out about 85, well, you know, probably about that much. So, yeah. If you're facing Broodlords, go for Tempest, man. They just do so much damage to Broodlords. It's just completely ridiculous. So there we go. Continuing to go for Corruptors. But I'm starting to think the Corruptors are just... I don't know. I mean, he's got two choices. He's got Hydras or he's got Corruptors at the moment. And Hydras get ripped apart by Colossus. So he needs to go for the Corruptors. But really, the Corruptors, against those Void Rays, I mean, I don't know what he can really do at this point. Maybe a tech switch into Ultras. Ultras might be able to do something here. Ultras would bash through a lot of this army. If he gets like 10 Ultras or something, he could almost certainly wipe out this ground army. The Void Rays could do a lot of damage to the Ultras as well, but I mean, if the Void Rays are having to deal with a Corruptor army, then yeah, I mean, Ultras could be pretty awesome. But oh, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. It looks like he's going to continue to go for a massive air army. What is this? Is this air? Yeah, this is the level 3 air. So he's already got level 3 attack, level 2 air armor. He's got full ground. And there we go, the Protoss player. He's just going for attack so far. His air attack is at 2. His ground attack is at 3. He has got 1 armor for ground, but he's really not focusing on his armor all that much, and he is getting a lot of Archons, which are fairly awesome. Archons, of course, going to be able to do some good stuff versus the Broodlords, because Broodlords are biological, just like every single unit in the entire Zerg army. So Archons do a lot of damage versus biologicals. And here we go. This is a nice attack. I really like this. He's going to take out a bunch of workers. He's not going to take that Nexus out though. He's got no chance. And look at that Overlord just get absolutely annihilated by the Archons. The Void Rays might have tried to chase that, but it's not going to work. Meanwhile, a nice little Ling attack over here, attacking this Nexus. Double-pronged attacks. It doesn't have to be a large amount of forces, it just has to be a small amount. You just have to keep the Protoss on his toes. Protoss is smart though. He's only sending off enough units as he needs to take those Lings out. A lot of players would send over their entire army just to wipe out those 4 Lings and leave himself open, but he's not doing that. He's going to keep most of his army around here, just send the 4 Zealots off he needs to. He pumps down the 1 Stalker there. That Stalker was meant to kill the Overlord, he was not meant to kill the Hydras. And oh, those Hydras nearly killed a Void Ray. That would have been awesome for those Hydras if they managed to take out those Void Rays, because I think at this stage of the game, Void Rays are just worth so much more than Hydras. Hydras are getting killed by the dozen, but 6 Void Rays can turn the tide of a battle. So there we go, almost killed 1. Not quite though. And meanwhile, he's just buzzing around. He is pushing the Broodlords, man. I do not know why he's pushing the Broodlords. They are so easily countered by the Tempest. I am surprised by how awesome the Tempest is a counter of the Broodlords. I did not know they were massive. They are massive. And of course, we've had a look at this before. The Tempest, air attack, 36 damage versus normal units, 90 versus massive. They just rip through Broodlords like they are made of big, squishy tissue paper. And yeah, this Broodlord offensive, I think this is just doomed to failure at this point. I don't think there's anything he can do. I don't think he can get up anywhere near the amount of Corruptors he needs to take out the Tempest. Because the Corruptors, they will have to deal with the Void Rays, and I mean, they're at a natural disadvantage versus the Void Rays. So, I mean, versus Terran Air, not Terran Air, Protoss Air, I mean, he really just, I don't think the Zerg player has this force. I don't think they can go against Protoss Air. I think they're just countered too badly at this point. I think it's just Zerg Air versus Protoss Air is just not going to work. The only thing that might work is if he tech switched, instead of mass Corruptors, into mass Mutas. Mass Mutas, although he's got Archons, he's screwed no matter what he does. No matter which air unit he does, he's screwed. And there we go, massive Corruptor force, going to try and go in, snipe the Tempest, but here comes the forces, the main Protoss army. Tries to yank a Tempest, it's not going to work. There he goes, he yanks it again. this Tempest is going to go down. That was a good snipe of the Tempest, and he's going to build up another one straight away. If he can do that, if he can snipe the Tempest like that, then he may be in a good position. But still, the Corruptors, actually, we have a look at the Corruptors. 5 Void Rays versus 15 Corruptors. Okay, so maybe, it's 3 to 1. Maybe now he has got the Corruptor numbers that he needs to take out this air army, to take out the Void Rays, to take out the Colossus. But you can't count out the Archons, you can't count out the Storms. I mean, I really don't know. I really don't know if the Corruptors can take out all the air units before they get taken out. Because if he loses all his Corruptors, he is completely and utterly screwed. There is no way that he is going to win this battle. And what has he got? I hear Swarm Hosts. We have Swarm Hosts. They're the ultimate annoyance in the Zerg army. If the Protoss is in the lead and you don't know how to beat him, you put down Swarm Host, it'll piss him off so much he will start making mistakes left, right and centre. There we go, this is the Oracle spell, so he's actually casting it down and he can see what these guys see, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, see, it looks like a vision thing, so he can see exactly what they see. And there we go, we have going for the annoyance factor from the Zerg player. And there we go, a couple of nice snipes, but he does not want to get the Vipers yanking them in. He gets out of there just in time. The Viper's not able to yank the Tempest in. They might go in again though. He's going to try and go out, but the Archon's moving in the same time. There comes a yank from the Tempest. If he gets another good yank out, then that Tempest is going to go down, but he doesn't get another nice yank out. He gets a few hits on it, but it is going to survive. And it is going to keep going on. Did he manage to kill it at the last second? I'm not sure. It's hidden inside this army. I think he may have killed it at the very last second. I'm not sure how he did that, but it looks like he did. And whittling down the Tempest number. These babies are not cheap. They are very expensive. And when you're going against Broodlords, they are well worth it. But going against anything else, not really that worth it. And he's starting to feel the pressure from these Locusts coming down. And here he goes, he's going to try and do a push in, but once the Locusts come out, he is going to have to back up. He does not have the army he needs to take these guys out. Here comes the Corruptors, here comes the Broodlords. This is going to be the push to end all pushes. He's going to get some Storms down, he's going to get some Archons down. The Archons doing a pretty good job of wiping out these Locusts in conjunction with the Colossus. But the Corruptors coming in there, they get some nice hits off on the Tempest. The Tempests are going to have to start focusing on these Broodlords. The Broodlords are just doing so much damage at the moment. Here they go, they're starting to focus on the Broodlords now. Broodlord army is going to get wiped out. They're going to run away, get a couple of Storms on them. The Corruptors coming back in, trying and counter the attack on these bloody Broodlords. And here come the Locusts again. He's going to have to get some Storms on them. They're just so good. They take out a couple of High Templar there. And the Protoss player, I'm not sure, but I think he may be getting forced back slowly and surely. He got some attacks on the Swarm Host, but it's so much back and forward here. He's running out of Tempest. He's going for a lot of High Templar. He's going to have to storm the shit out of everything on this entire map, because this slow push from the Broodlords and the Swarm Host and the Corruptors is just doing so much damage here. Here he's going for Archons. Looks like he's warping in Archons, but he really needs to get down some nice Storms as well. He's moving in here. He's abandoning this position. He's going to let the Zerg run in there. He's going to push through in this side. See if he can get a flank around. If he takes out these Corruptors, they'll be very good, but I'm not sure he's in a perfect position to do that. He's getting out more Void Rays as well. He's got to reach these guys in, let these guys come in, and he would love nothing more than for the Archons to get a few hits off on the Corruptors. That is what I think he's going for at the moment. Of course, he is going for a lot of Void Rays as well, so Void Rays, he really wants to take these guys out. Of course, Void Rays, their overcharge, are going to be awesome at taking out the Swarm Host. But the problem is these Corruptor forces. The Corruptors are just so much. There's 25 and there's only got 7 Void Rays. He's trying to patch that up now. But I think a lot of the Void Rays have been taken out in the previous battle, because he's been building a lot, but there just never seems to be a massive amount. And here we go, the Locusts coming in here. The Broodlords coming in for the perfect time. Tempest coming in here. He's going to scare off some of these Broodlords. He's really starting to shelve down the Broodlord numbers. Come on, get in there and wipe out those Broodlords. You can probably get the rest of them at this point. The Corruptors are taking up time, hitting the bloody Colossus. The Void Rays overcharging, going in for the Corruptors, doing massive amounts of damage. The Broodlords should be running away at the moment, but they're not. Instead, they're getting hit by the Tempest. They're moving up here. The Protoss player should move his Tempest in, but there we go. The Corruptor's coming up there to support the Broodlords. Got to take out this one poor Oracle, and this base is going to go down. The Protoss player is just going to get forced further and further back. He's getting a lot more Archons out, but the Archons are just getting wiped out by the Locust. It's just really, because the Archons are just such good units, and they just get absolutely, positively molested by the Locusts, and it's just really, really painful to watch Locusts just wiping out so many ground units for the Protoss army. And here he goes, he's warping in Stalkers. He's going for a lot more Stalkers now. They're a little bit beefier, but they still just get wiped out versus the Locusts, and he's got to be thinking about some sort of flank around here to really get around this army, to really get in there and take out this Swarm Host, because that's what he's got to be thinking about right now. I think there was a pylon there, I'm pretty sure. Bunch of Lings coming in here. I'm going to do some damage, going to warp in some Zealots, so this attack is not going to go anywhere. The Lings, he's not microing them to attack the workers, they're just attacking the cannons. But this guy is not microing his Zealots either. He's got to get in there and attack the bloody Lings. There we go, the cannons are going to finish him off though. Swarm Hosts are going to come in there. This is a chance, this is an excellent chance for the Protoss player. The Zerg realizes he's way out of position. He's got to run those Swarm Hosts away. And it was close, it was very close. He was, if he'd left them there a few seconds longer, he may have lost last half of his forces. A Void Ray is going to come in there, but there's a preemptive storm coming down there. The Corruptors do not fall into the trap. The Locusts come down again. This ground force is going to have to get the hell out of there. And there we go, Blink coming down. So Blink is going to be a very effective tool at taking out these Corruptors. And as I've said before, once the Corruptors go down, the Zerg army is going to be completely screwed. There we go, Void Ray is going to go in for the push. The Corruptors want none of that, but actually they are going to go in there, but the Stalkers coming in there. Stalkers are going to take out a massive amount of Corruptors. We've got some Storms now, we've got some Tempests focusing on the Broodlords. This may be all she wrote, this push from the Protoss player to get out all these Stalkers. I don't know if the Zerg expected it, and it may be his downfall right now. The Stalkers are going to push in there. They're going to attack the Swarm Host now. The Corruptors not really a threat anymore, most of them have been killed. The Tempests, I think all of them are going to be killed, but he should be able to wipe out the remaining air forces. Swarm Hosts are getting wiped out here. They're taking some ground forces down, but the Protoss army should be able to take the rest of them down. The Stalkers going in there doing the damage that they needed to do. And my god, the Protoss player is, I think, firmly in the lead here. Hasn't won the game, but he is definitely in the lead after that fantastic attack. He's going to wipe this base down, and now the Protoss can push his advantage, start wiping out the Zerg's bases. In fact, I think the Zerg player may be in a little bit of trouble in terms of his economy. He's definitely running out of bases. He's actually trying to expand up there in the Protoss side of the base, but it's not quite going to work. Here we go, we see he's building up more Swarm Hosts though, he's building up more Corruptors. I don't know if this is the good option though, because yeah, it's just full ground army now, and the Stalkers with Blink, they're just going to wipe through the Corruptors like there's no tomorrow, and they're going to do pretty good against the Swarm Hosts as well. So Stalker's a great answer for both of these units, and he is going to be producing more Broodlords, but I think with the Stalkers on the map, he really needs to think of a sort of tech switch again. He is building up a lot more Lings, which is good. Lings are very good versus Stalkers. They're not that good versus Colossus, and he is continuing to build up Colossus, but it looks like he may be transitioning into the more generic Zealot, Stalker, Colossus army, and I think that will do very well for him in this battle, but he needs to stop trying to push through this gap. Although it looks like it may be excellent timing, because these guys are all going to go down, and there we go, wiping them all out. Very nice job. I don't think he cancelled, he cancelled one of them maybe, I'm not sure if he cancelled any of them. But here we go, a couple of Locusts coming in. The Tempests are out on the map, so they're going to be looking for some Broodlords to wipe out. There's one Broodlord, but there's 3 more coming up. And yeah, I've got to say, I don't think the Zerg is going to be able to pull this off. The Protoss player, it was an awesome push towards going for Stalkers. Really good move. He managed to get the counters down very nicely. The Zerg is going for the same old, other than the increase in the amount of Lings he's going for the same units that he was going before. And I think the Protoss player may have his number. with these forces that he's getting out now. So I'm really not sure. We'll see how much this Ling push can really do. Right now these Lings just going to keep on moving, but there's cannons everywhere, so they're not going to get anything done. And oh, let's have a look. Mining bases, what do we got? We got one here, we got two there, a third one starting. Zerg player, one here, two here. But with the exception of this one, he's really running out. And here we go, there's the push. So many Zerglings, sorry, no, so many Zealots, so many Stalkers, the Colossus. And that was just a power push from the Protoss player. Just went in there, just wiped out everything. There's very high tech, very low number units that the Zerg player had. Just not enough to resist a full-on, to-the-wall push with these low-level gateway units from the Protoss player. So very good push there. I'm sure the Storms didn't help either. But there we go. Excellent play from our Protoss player, going in there, doing all the stuff he needed to do. Great use of the Stalkers there, because that Zerg really was doing a great job. The Corruptors were all over the place, doing a fantastic job, but nexKnowMe, very good play as well by SyDe. It's not all the time that you see Broodlords used fairly effectively. They were used fairly effectively here. There's still, I can't say they were an awesome unit in this game, but they were used fairly well, and in conjunction with the Swarm Host, they did do quite a lot of damage. So there we go, excellent game, and yeah, good job to our Protoss player. Thank you very much for watching this game. This has been xhairymuppetx. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you like these games, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. This has been xhairymuppetx.